Well, then, the SA Confederation and Olympic Committee has condemned SA Tourism's R1 billion deal with the UK-based football club Tottenham Hotspur. In a statement released today, SASCOC, which is the controlling body for all high-performance sport in South Africa, pointed out that the magnitude of the proposed investment is not in proportion to the investment the South African government is making in national sport. Now, joining me just to chat a bit more about this is SASCOC President Barry Hendricks. Barry, thank you very much for your time. Always a pleasure chatting to you. I mean, what was your first reaction when you heard about this proposed deal?
Our position is very clear that we want a pragmatic approach to sponsoring sport, as well as to bringing tourists into South Africa using sport as a vehicle. And we feel that with proper negotiations and consultation and collaboration, we can in fact put a better return on investment on the table for South African tourism, so that they can achieve their goals and at the same time supporting South African federations.
I mean, we were listening to the SA Tourism CEO this week saying that the money is not allocated for other things other than tourism in the country, and that they should be allowed to do that. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, just to put the perspective in mind, there are many international tournaments that are taking place within this country, as well as the fact that we have Banyana going overseas to go and play in the Women's World Cup, as well as our own Springboks going overseas to go and play. Now, surely we can use those platforms to send a message to future tourists to come to South Africa, using the same sort of proposal that they have for Tottenham Hotspur, to put it onto their sleeves, to say, come and visit this country. But also, we've just had an event recently in Durban, with table tennis, international table tennis, and in May there's the World Table Tennis World Cup. And we are bringing in thousands of tourists to come and visit South Africa. We need to get into partnership with SA Tourism, and we need to work with them and work out a strategy how we can use our current federations and get them to support our federations to support their own goals.
I mean, you mentioned all these different events that are happening, even in the statement that SASCOC sent out, mentioning the number of World Cups that we actually have in the country. But besides that, the number of sporting events that we have throughout the year. Do you think not enough is being used in terms of taking advantage of these events in terms of promoting the country?
I think more communication needs to take place, yes, between ourselves, between the Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, and as well as the Department of Tourism, as well as with South African Tourism. We see this as an opportunity to get together, to put together a better strategy so that all parties can achieve their aims.
I mean, you also mentioned in your statement that in terms of the money that they are proposing to invest in this deal is not in proportion to the investment that SA government is plunging into South African sports. Do you think perhaps this is the perfect time to start that conversation between you as SASCOC and the SA government in terms of increasing perhaps the amount that they put into sport?
Yes, we understand the allocation of sport because there are so many other priorities in South Africa to develop our nation and to develop the social ills that are happening around us. But we think that this is a fantastic opportunity to sit down with South African tourism and to sit down with the South African Sports Confederation, Olympic and Paralympic Committee, because we also represent the Commonwealth Games, the World Games, and the International Schools Games. Let's work out a different strategy in a constructive manner and a positive manner to move forward. Because if there are funds available and using sport as a vehicle to achieve the marketing goals of South African tourism and to bring more visitors to this country, we will gladly work with them to achieve those aims.
Do you not have enough sponsors to help you run the sports in the country?
Oh no, there is never enough money. Because South Africa, SASCOC is not just a high-performance organization. We are a sports movement. So the issue of human rights, the issue of gender, the issue of youth, the issue of getting people to play is all part and parcel of us working with our national federations. So wherever there is a potential for programs to occur, whether it's from international funding or even now, in the case of South African tourism, showing that there's a budget that they want to use, using sport as a vehicle for change to bring tourists in. We are saying, let us work together. That is our message that we want to get across. Let us work together. Let us collaborate to achieve the similar goals.
Barry, let me thank you for your time. That is Barry Hendricks from SASCOC President, just having his say in terms of what SASCOC feels with regards to this SA Tourism proposed $1 billion deal with Tottenham Hotspur, just saying that perhaps they need to sit down and have a partnership moving forward in terms of attracting more tourists to the country